Hello and welcome back to Rev Endurance Sports, and today we're going to do a pre-service video because a lot of times once I've already completed the job I'm just telling you what I corrected. Now my apologies, but it's landscape day on my property, so we have landscaping going on, so I apologize if you cannot hear me over the din of the lawnmower and hopefully not a leaf blower soon. Right, so what we have is a blue Triad SL. So blue Triad SL, a triathlon bike with some deep section Super Team wheels. Now let's cover a few things. This bike, so the gentleman that came to me, his brother owns, or I guess he said, hey, you're my brother and I want us to do an event together. So I'm going to loan you my blue triathlon bike that I haven't ridden in a while. So, just get it serviced, get it, looked over, and then we can start training together. And this is beginning of June and the event is in December, so he's got 6 months. So that's great. It's not a last minute thing. But there are a few issues with this bike, and I wish to go through them with you because once I do the service, well, you don't get a chance to see what was broken or what needed to be replaced. This is a 10-speed setup. So right here, these are Shimano 10-speed shifters, and there's some corrosion there, but that's okay. I mean, that doesn't affect how it shifts. However, because these are 10-speed and because this is a 10-speed rear derailleur, we're going to get to this in a minute. This cage is a really, really short cage. This is what Dura-Ace used to say was what professional racers needed. But us as consumers, you could just see that this is a tiny, tiny cage. Well, the brother has a 32 cassette on here. And so that cassette is just too big for this little caged, small caged derailleur. And it's 10-speed. So here's the challenge. I don't know why Shimano did this, but Shimano has two different cable pulls for 10-speed. And Russ from Pathless Pedaled, I believe, explains it much better than I ever can. But basically, you have a road 10-speed pull ratio, and then you have a Tiagra, so the 4700 series, I believe it's 4700, also 10-speed, but the cable pull is different. Why they did that, I don't know. I wish I had a Shimano engineer to interview. So you can't just put any 10-speed derailleur, although in the past most rear derailleurs are dumb in the sense that they just do what they're told. It doesn't matter what the cable pull is. But I don't want to take that chance because I don't know if a Tiagra style 10-speed will fit on this. So one of the options was, well, you could use the GRX 400 series because that is a 10-speed and it's road compatible. But then when you look into the details, it's 4700 series 10-speed stuff. And I called Shimano, and Shimano said, well, we've never tested it. We don't approve it, the GRX 400, for road use with 10-speed road cable pull. All right, I'm sorry if I've butchered that, but basically there are two different 10-speed cable pulls. All right, now, the other thing that he has going on, so I said, look, not only is this too short of a cage, which the B-tension screw here is screwed all the way in. You can see it's flush against the plate. So you can't get into your 32 without a ton of grinding on your top pulley. Not to mention the transition from what I believe is a 30 to the 32 is just a very big grind. But you've also got a broken barrel adjuster. Can that focus in? Yeah, right there. So the other piece of that is still inside here. And these things are cheap. I don't know, maybe $5, but you got to find the one that's specific to this derailleur. So we have that going on. We have a completely bent and compromised rear housing, so we'll replace that. So what I found was a 5701, so a 105 rear derailleur, long cage, so GS, they call it medium, but for lack of a better description, in the bike shops, we call those long cage, even though Shimano calls it medium. It's a GS, so that will take up a lot more chain, so we'll need to replace the chain when we replace the rear derailleur. It'll be a 10-speed road cable pull, which will be compatible with this cable pull. The front derailleur needs a little bit of work. This is a 5339 setup, so it's a big boy setup for triathlon, and the race he's actually doing is fairly flat. It's going to be in our Palm Desert area, so down in the desert. I don't know exactly where it is. It's called Desert Tri, so it doesn't have an actual name on the name of a town in their race name. But the 32 is great for riding here in San Diego and getting your training in. So 39, 32. A couple of other things that I thought were interesting. He's got what appeared to be, to me anyway, just regular standard black rubber brake pads, which would be great for an aluminum rim, but I don't know if it's compatible with these Super Team wheels. So I asked him, hey, check with your brother, see if he's got some pads that are compatible with this carbon rim. And of course, he's new to cycling because he's a runner. He actually did an ultra run, like a 50K just recently. So this is new to him, and he doesn't understand that brake pads have to be carbon specific. Otherwise, you can melt the brake track and the wheel will just explode, right? These things do happen, have happened. The other thing, which I thought was just a fun little factoid, I know the engineers who designed this speed fill, and I used to get their beta product, or I used to get their product to do beta testing, and I used to put these on my P3, Sorello P3, when I would do ultras. And if you go to the speed fill installation photos, that's me doing the install on one of my bikes, doing the install, cutting the tube, doing all that stuff. So just a little factoid for you on the speed fill. That's me. You'll see I'm wearing a Polar watch, which was my computer, my cycling computer, because at the time Polar was taking care of me, and so I used Polar equipment. And then eventually he's going to need a bike fit, so that's another thing to deal with. Oh, one little, not a pet peeve, I guess you'd call it a attention to detail thing. The tires on both front and rear are on backwards. So if you ride gator skins, which God bless your soul if you do, these are horrible, horrible, horrible tires. This little dot here should be going forward. So it's very hard to read a directional arrow on the side of the tire. So for a lot of my older clientele, I put a directional arrow in 2 spots with a gray Sharpie so that they can just replace it. I, of course, put it on the non-drive side so, you know, people don't see it. But that way, if they take the tire off, they're still looking for that thorn, they're still looking for a piece of glass or a wire. When they go to remount the tire out on the road, they know which direction it goes. People just forget that these two little dots go forward. The front one's the same, however, I've just flipped the wheel around, right? So this is correct, but now the hub is backwards, which of course does not matter in the least, and I honestly don't think that this matters much either. However, I do have a video out there that shows you how to properly install your front wheel. And generally what you're looking for is your decals to one or two things. As you straddle the bike and you look down at your hub decal, if it's got words on it, let's say it has words right there, you should be able to read those words. If it's upside down, well, then the wheel is in backwards. The other way to check which way to install it is always match your rear hub. So you can see the logo is over by the non-drive side, then this logo should be on the non-drive side. Just a small little thing, but I think a lot of times folks come to my channel to learn one little thing to level up just a touch. Okay, so new chain, new rear derailleur. We'll run through the rest of the bike. He's going to need a tube for this speed fill and a bike valve. Looks like he's also missing the grommet there. I am a speed fill dealer, so I can get that stuff for him. But and then eventually a bike fit and all that stuff. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe so you can see the finished product. And there's a ton of bike profile videos on a playlist. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you up the road.